It is the wrestling standout, the Olympic champion, the multiple-time MMA champion, and now it is an author as well, Ben Askren, with Funky, My Defiant Path Through the Wide World of Combat Sports. Ben, I guess first off, I mean, you're a busy man. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
What was the motivation for taking the time to put this book together? Because I know it's not an easy process.
Well, I took a little time out of my chainsaw schedule. No, that's what I'm going to do after. I'm going to chainsaw stuff. No, it started during Corona. It was because I was like, dude, what the hell are we going to do here? You know, there was, our wrestling academies, we shut down for 3 months. And then even once we started back up, like everything else was shut down. So it was like, I would coach, I don't know, 15, 20 hours a week, but then there was literally nothing else going on, where there might normally be camps or tournaments. My kids might have things going on. They had nothing going on, so it was kind of like, let me get something cooking here. And so I hit up Chuck Mindenhall. And then it just so happened that right after I had my hip surgery, I'm like, hey, why don't you come out here to my house and we'll hang out and we'll talk. And so he agreed to write the book, and I think he really crushed it.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, for MMA hardcores, of course, they will know the name Chuck Mindenhall, one of the best writers in the space, to be clear. So if Ben Askren's story wasn't enough to get you excited, know that you've got the phenomenal writing of Chuck Mindenhall, right?
Yes. I mean, yeah, he is a really, really good writer. Some of the things. So, I mean, the process we went through is that I would, right, he came out here for like 3 days and we kind of just like talked through everything, right? And then he would write a chapter and then I would read it. I'd make corrections. We'd hop on a Zoom call. We'd talk about the things. And the thing I was like so amazed by is how he just kind of nailed my voice, in some of the sentences. It would be like, that's like exactly the word choice I would use in that sentence. That is exactly how I would say it. It has the tone I would use. So I was just kind of fascinated by how good he was at nailing that.
That's awesome. And listen, it's, this book is about you. It's about your life, which has been an intriguing life to say the least, but it's got some core messages to people out there, right? About basically hard work is what's going to get you there, and ensuring, I guess, that, whatever path you're doing, not just MMA, that you're educated in it, right? That you're a student of the game and that you're busting your ass to get it done. And that's really, I mean, the secret to success.
Yeah. So I think there's some inspirational message to go along with just the entertainment of the book. So I actually kind of broke it down because I gave a speech last week, actually in Vegas. And it was, so one was like dream delusionally. So now if I told you like, hey, I made the Olympic team, you'd be like, well, yeah, you're Ben Askren. That's what, but like when I was 15, when I thought it, everyone would have been like, okay, good luck, kid. Like you're not very good. Not even for your age group. You're not even that good, So that would be kind of the first one. Is you got to dream delusionally. Number two was good things are going to take a really, really long time. And so, that Olympic journey, that was 8 years, but then, everything in life, like it's Askren Wrestling Academy, we're in year 11 right now. And, we make great progress, but we're not anywhere near an ending point. And it surely wasn't like, hey, we're going to open up and 1 year later, we're going to be this amazing thing, right? Things take time. That's it. Things take time. And then number three was be okay with doing things a little bit different way, or the way that things are currently being done doesn't mean the way they have to be done. And, for me, the biggest one is folk style wrestling. I had all that struggles when I went to college, and just the style that I was wrestling and the more common style of the day, it just wasn't getting it done for me. And that was where I had to kind of find the scrambling and find a unique path to success. And I think I've done that other places. And then the last message was, don't pay attention too much to social media and people telling you can't do things or can do things or what they feel about you. And just don't be intimidated by that. So I think there's a lot of people who don't even ever start things because they're worried about failure, or they're worried what people might say about them. So they don't even ever get started. So who knows what they would have become, because they're so intimidated by this concept of maybe I'll fail. And if I fail, maybe people will say bad things about me, but you got to go give it a shot.
You know what I love about those, Ben? Everything you're saying there is so spot on, and I mean it's truly motivational, and it's great because you've lived it. It's not like you're just some guy talking in theory of like, hey, these are messages. That's literally the exact path that you've taken, and it's so cool because that doesn't apply to wrestling or mixed martial arts or anything. I mean, that literally applies to every path or avenue you want to chase in your life.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the path to success can be kind of laid out this very similarly in a lot of different fields, so it's not like, oh, you do this thing And then for something else, you do something totally different. No, it's like, hard work, problem solving, dedication over time. These things, they're almost universal, whether you're a writer, whether you're trying to start a business, whether you're trying to be a parent, whatever you're trying to do, they're kind of universal.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing, obviously, that you bring to the table, Ben, is that wrestling mentality. And we hear a lot about it. And it's a real thing because it
Yeah.
is, if not the hardest sport on the earth, it's definitely up there as one of them. But, a question I get a lot is from parents, like how old or, should I get my kids involved in martial arts training? When should I start them? Obviously, you have a youth academy. To me, I mean, I have my kid training. I think absolutely wrestling, jujitsu, some form of grappling.
Yeah.
Your kids should be doing it. And I say early in life, but what say you? Is it something that every kid should at least try? And how old do you recommend that they start doing it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I'm biased, but yes, I would say every kid should try it.
Especially at your academy.
And probably more than yeah. I mean, I guarantee you're gonna get a good experience then. Yeah. So I mean, all of my kids play multiple sports when they're younger, and that's gonna be their path to decide what they want to do when they get a little older. I think that's kind of how most parents should be with it. But yeah, I mean, like my daughters, I both told them they're gonna wrestle till they're 10, and then if they want to do something else, then they can do something else. But if nothing else, for the combat sports, most of them, I mean, they're all individual, right? So the self-reliance, the work ethic, but then just, I mean, especially for females, having some type of like understanding of how to battle a little bit, like that self-defense, and that builds obviously confidence because you're confident in your ability to defend yourself. It kind of goes a long way. So yeah, I mean, I think all kids should probably do it, whether it's, I love jujitsu also. I think some of the other martial arts might be a little less realistic to real world situations. And I don't think kids should be fighting early. I don't know, like obviously like organized fighting is what I'm talking about, right? Mixed martial arts.
Right.
It does feel weird.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that. All right, listen, I did want to ask you about kind of your thought process on where mixed martial arts is. As you said, you're a student of the game, you're educated, you see things. Where do you feel the sport is going? Because we've seen it in our lifetime grow from banned to, on ESPN and, Fox previously and all that. And now there's organizations around the globe. I mean, you went and saw it over in Asia and the growth of ONE. You've got PFL proliferating. But I hear some people worried, the sport is stagnating. Others saying, dude, this is still the fastest growing sport on the planet. Where do you see mixed martial arts?
It's good. So I think it's growing at a rapid rate right now. But from the point of, I mean, so you got to kind of delineate a couple things. So I was talking to, I was doing another podcast, but it wasn't with the mixed martial arts guy. So I was kind of trying to explain that early mixed martial arts, and early mixed martial arts was a couple things. Number one, it was which one of these things actually works. Which one, right? Which one works? Is it wrestling? Is it boxing? Is it kickboxing? Is it jiu-jitsu? What actually works? Because we didn't know. No one knew. A lot of people thought karate was going to be the best thing ever, and it turns out karate versus other things is really not all that effective, right? Like there's some things you can pull away from it, but as an independent thing, it's not going to beat other things. So that would be number one. We were trying to, and number two, it was a circus. We weren't sure what was going to happen, right? I was laughing because I was telling this guy that the thing was, 8 men enter, 1 man leaves, like someone was going to die.
Right.
That was literally it. That's what it was. So, there was that point. And then, I think, it went dark, and then it came back and got popular. And now in 2022, you're seeing this. Everyone kind of knows what MMA is in training, right? So even in the, like, let's say late 2000s, 2010, early 2010s, there was a lot of people who were still like doing only one or two things. Like they weren't becoming dynamic in all the different martial arts. And now you have a really good idea because there's been so many fights about what it's going to take to be a high-level mixed martial artist. So yes, you're going to see a lot more parity. Like the parity is going to go up because everyone has a basic understanding of all the positions. You're not going to see, James Toney, who's completely clueless on the ground, right? Whereas as soon as he gets down, he's like, I mean, but for real though, right? You're not going to see that anymore. Because everyone does have this base level understanding. So in a way, it's going to get some people may say a little more boring because you're not going to have the chaos of what you had. But there's still a lot of people who want to do it. There's a lot more people doing it at a high level. That there's a lot more events than there ever has been, right? Between all those organizations. So yeah, I think it's still growing, but it's definitely changing a little bit. It's maturing, we'll say.
Yeah, 100%. And people should know that you're still very involved in the MMA space, right? With Verdict MMA. That's a project that you've
Yes,
got
sir.
going as well. I love those guys, by the way, that are running it, behind it. I love the product itself. Man, talk to me about, kind of your involvement with Verdict and where you see it going.
So I don't really have much involvement in mixed martial arts. I enjoy the fights when I get the opportunity to. I kind of am helping one guy, a kid named Jordan Newman, who works for AWA, and he's 4-0 in Bellator, and I train with him about once a week. And then I invested in this company called Verdict. They're really killing it. So essentially, they started as a score card app where people could go put their scores in, so you could see kind of what the public thought about a fight. Like the Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley one was, it was one that was talked about a lot because of the scorecard. You see on Verdict, it was scored 3-0 for Peter Yan, but 2 of the rounds were relatively close. 2 of the rounds were like 9.6 to 9.4, right? So you're essentially they're taking the total score of how many people are voting for each person, or 10-9s, or they're scoring at 10-8s. And so you needed 2 rounds that were relatively close, and then you saw Sean O'Malley win 2 rounds on the judges' scorecards. And then they turned into a daily fantasy sports betting game, which I think is really cool. I've won it twice. I'm killing people. I won out of like 300 people. It was awesome. It was, oh my God, Cyril Gone. Who did TKO in the second round?
Which fight was that?
It was Tuivasa.
Tai Tuivasa. Oh, the last one. Yeah, Tai Tuivasa. Oh, you won that one?
That was awesome in France. So they have this really fun sports betting game where essentially you bet. They have a couple. There's one where you pick just the co-main and main event. That is a little easier, so I kind of like that one. There's one where you pick the entirety of the card, but you pick who's going to win, how are they going to win, what round are they going to win in, all these things also, and fun little game that we get to play there. So yeah, they're killing it. I think they're going to become more and more popular.
I agree. And by the way, there's some expert pickers in that for you.
Have you started betting yet, John?
I need to. I've joined it. Yeah. I like it. I need to do it because, I got in there one time and got my ass kicked. It intimidated me. I'm like, these people know the sport better than I do over here.
Yeah. Last week I did terrible last week because I did a few of them where I bet all 5 fights. One of them I only got one right. Because I bet on Jan. I bet on Charles. I got that one wrong. Who's the co-main? I bet on Aljo. That was the one I kind of got that one right across the board. I bet on Aljo and all of them. Then I don't recall the first 2, but I got them wrong. The last week was terrible. I did terrible, but most weeks I do relatively well.
I'll have to jump in there. All right, listen.
I know you're busy. Fun. Get on there.
I do.
Morgan, let's go.
I need to get on there more. I'm committing to you, Ben Askren. I will be on there more because I do like the platform, man.
I'm gonna text him right now. I'm gonna tell him John Morgan wants a piece of this.
Hold me to it. Hey, let me ask you real quick. This weekend, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva. Obviously, you'll be forever tied to Jake Paul. Are you interested in this fight? Are you intrigued by this one at all as a fan?
No, I'm probably not gonna watch it.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? So Saturday night, we actually have this. There's this new wrestling media company in Wisconsin, and they're putting on we call it Who's Number One in wrestling because Flow Wrestling did it first, and they actually do it in jiu-jitsu also. So Flow Wrestling does a wrestling Who's Number One. They do a bunch of jiu-jitsu Who's Number One. That's flow grappling. So a lot of states have kind of stolen that model, and so there's 11 matches, and I think we initially had guys in every single match at AWA because we have a lot of the best kids. We had a few injuries, so I think we're in like 9 or 10 of the 11 matches right now. So we'll be there. It's going to be a lot of our best kids competing. So it should be a lot of fun. And then if I get home after that, I'm having some people over. So I don't know, maybe we'll rent it. Maybe we won't. I'm not sure at this point.
All right. Fair
but
enough.
It's not something like, it's definitely not something where I'm like, I can't miss this. It's like,
what do you think? Do you think Anderson, what do you think about Anderson's chances at 47, right? I mean, if 10 years ago, this isn't even a question, but at 47?
Anderson looked great though. Who did he just beat up? He just beat up,
knocked out Tito.
No, the one after that. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up. Arizona Anderson Silva boxer record. Okay, hold on. I'm almost there. He fought Julio Cesar Chavez. That was the one.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, the great one.
He's kind of like good. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you know Anderson Silva had a boxing fight in 1998 that he lost?
Isn't that wild?
That's wild. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he beat Julio Cesar Chavez, and I watched some clips from that fight, and he looked really good. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't think Jake was that good, and I unfortunately learned that he's better than what I thought. And then obviously he beat Tyron, who is way better than I am at boxing, so that means he's way, way better than what I thought. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
It's competitive, and I hate that. I'm ready for our MMA guys to get
the
one.
betting odds are very competitive, right?
Yeah, Silva's an underdog.
Yeah, wild.
Crazy. All right, man. Well, listen, I know you got some chainsaws to go do and some stuff to burn. But let me ask you: is there a best place to buy the book, Funky, My Defiant Path Through the Wide World of Combat Sports? Is there one where you get a bigger piece of the action, or it's behooves you best for them to buy it?
I don't think so. I don't know that for. Maybe I should know that for a fact, but I definitely don't know that for a fact. So I don't think so. It's available on Barnes and Noble and Amazon. People sent me some pictures. It's in Barnes and Noble stores. So that's pretty cool. I'm an avid reader, and I always say there's not enough mixed martial arts or wrestling, for that matter, biographies, because if they wrote them, I probably read them, and there's just not very many of them. So yeah, hopefully I can fill a void for some people.
I love it. It's a great book. I recommend it for everybody. Ben Askren, thank you for the time. Now go tear some stuff up.
I'm gonna crunch that trees, cut them down.